What's up everyone, Duro here. Welcome to another guide of the battle group building in Broken Arrow. This time we're going to take a look on the USA. I will show you the three battle groups that I mostly use and that are the best currently in my opinion. Before we start, I think that US battle groups are all quite reliable. I would just not recommend using the airborne and special forces because even though you are quite strong, still you will be lacking in a certain area. I can just show you that. You will not have many vehicles, only paper tanks, and your support part of the battle group is very weak. No long range SAM, almost no logistics, very weak artillery. I mean, super reduces are not bad, but you don't have much of the reserves. You are relying a lot on helicopters and air force, which can be hard countered by enemy AA and heavy AA, and then you are heavily relying on infantry, which can be demolished by artillery, airstrikes, and proper fire support. Okay, so let's start with some of the US specs that I'm using. The first one is Armored Special Forces. I consider this to be one of the best. The reason is that you have very strong infantry and all the best tanks that you need. And you still have quite decent support and air force, although not as strong as if you combine the special forces with something else. So in the Recon tab we have the RQ Sentinel. Use it carefully because those 200 points hurts, but if you see enemy fighter coming in, just pull it back. But it's very good at spotting. And we have Ranger Snipers that I'm using in suppressed version. These don't do really much of a damage. I see people using it, but the purpose of this Ranger Sniper is to remain silent and stealth, and to provide information and place enemy targets for your artillery, not to fight. And then we have a Cavalry Scouts. These are one of the most effective javelin squads in the game. Use them always in a couple and properly resupply, because when they fire together on one enemy target, such as T-15 or T-90 that have APS, it will just, the first shot will get eaten by APS, but the second shot will take half of the damage. And if you are shooting on the target that has no APS, it will be killed instantly, because 2 javelin shots are more than enough to eliminate everything. You can bring one of the squads in M3A4 Bradley, or you can use some different Bradley from infantry tab that can have more slots. And we have STT, very good stinger, and a very strong standoff, also can lace enemy positions. And then we have Rangers RRC. It depends what kind of one you use. Close quarter and standoff are both really good. I already have close quarter units in the infantry tab, such as Delta Force or Engineers or Rangers. So Ranger CQC, so I'm using standoff for this. You have the MOS, which are very strong, and these Rangers RRC are very effective early on. You can bring them with Silent Hawk. Don't cap the point so you don't get revealed to your enemy, but put it somewhere on the road where you think your enemy will go close to, so you can ambush. Same way can be used the Little Bird. In infantry we have the Delta Force. This can deal with any enemy infantry squad if used correctly, but you don't have any anti-armor capability, so whenever you do the job, just move them away, because enemy is coming with some armor and these guys can't do anything. They're not equipped for that. Then we have Ranger Mouse. basically very fast-firing 80 unit. Good to combine with Delta Force, but be aware that then it's kind of very expensive. Then we have the Javelins. These Javelins have longer range than the usual ones, and they also have decent standoff weapons. Very good at holding enemy line or denying positions to the enemy, or just dealing damage to something that might be coming closer and closer from far away. Then we have mechanical engineers. These guys are excellent. For the 50 points, you have 5-man squad with 10 armor, shotguns, and small Ds. These can kill also some of the lightly armored vehicles. I highly recommend to combine mech engineers with either Ranger Moves or with Rangers RRC. So you will have either additional anti-infantry capability, or you will make your double squad more efficient. Rangers RRC are good to in a way that you have a meaty CQC squad, like a Delta Force, but if you don't want to spend too much points and you also want to have some capability against lighter armor, you have these guys. Standoff version is not bad, you can use it as well. In that case, they turn into very decent line infantry. But in this case, we have a mech riflemans. These are your line infantry that are usually holding positions, or you want to put some units just to patrol somewhere. These are your guys. They are not good at almost anything. They are just the cheap meat that might alert you when the enemy is approaching. So good for holding flank or holding line, or being just there to slow down the enemy. From the vehicle's perspective, we are using the Warpig, which is excellent, cheap, quite fast, and can fit 12 people. So we can always have a squad of Delta Force, or you can have double of these guys in any kind of combination you want. For example, Ranger Moves and Mechanical Engineers, so you have anti-tank and then anti-infantry capability. Or you can use it for double RRC. Then we have a Bradley ESV. I put the APS on this, and these Bradleys are excellent at dealing with the BMD2 spam, the infamous spam that it's not really that occurring anymore, because I think people learn how to deal with it, but it can still happen. The Blams can one-shot those small fuckers, so you can utilize them very nicely. You have a smoke, we have the 2 APS. Just be careful when you run out of APS and smoke. You have to immediately resupply, because otherwise it will die easily to the cornet that's on these BMD2s. And we also have AMPV without the Javelin. The reason is that you don't really need it for the purpose of for the purpose you're going to use this vehicle for, and also the Javelin will just make it more expensive. Yeah, 145 instead of 115. How to use this vehicle? You load it with either Delta Force or double mech engineers or double Rangers RRC, some kind of assault unit, and you drive into enemy positions. You lay down smoke, you unload infantry, deal with the target, load it back, and move and resupply back in your backline. So it's quite survivable. It doesn't look like that, but it's quite survivable. And Pushmaster 2 is one of the best 30mm autocannons in the game. In the vehicles, we have quite a lot of tanks to use. The armored is bringing us the best Abrams in the game, or maybe the most expensive. I'm not sure it's the best. You have very high pen, very high HP, great frontal armor. You have APS, 2 smokes, but it's quite expensive, so use it with caution. Be aware that enemy might drop the cluster on you as soon as they spot the tank. The SEP V2 is tank that is basically having the same or almost the same capability as SEP V3, but with only one difference is that it has lower damage against infantry, and it has slightly lower pen, and it has no APS. But the frontal armor is still high, and you still have 19 HP. So these two are your heavy tanks without APS. You don't always need it. I think you guys should learn about how to play without APS, because the APS is many times just inflating the cost of your units. Look at that, 350, 280. I think that's significantly different. And then we have the base version of M1A2 Abrams. If I could, I would bring more. They are just excellent. For this price, you can deal with enemy tanks, even those that are more expensive. You have decent HP, decent speed, very good frontal armor. You can easily counter bookers in case you are playing mirror match. You can pay 20 points to have additional Browning and HP, but I don't think it's worth it. I might be wrong though. And the missile carriers. In support tab, we don't have much of the points, but I try to utilize it as much as I could. One pack 3 with basically 8 missiles. You don't need, nor you can afford the 16 missiles. I think 8 missiles are just enough. And you want to turn off when the seed is coming anyway, because seed interception with SAMs is not really reliable in this game. But I can understand that the seed missiles are supposedly to kill your Axe and S300s. Then we have a short with Hellfire because it really helps deal with the ground, enemy ground, in case your enemy decides to invest more into spamming ground units. It also helps a lot against those PMD2Ms, as Hellfire is very effective. Pivots, I'm on fence whether I should use this unit or not. When you use the smoke, you can eat one seed without dying. This M61 20mm can usually intercept enemy seed, not always. It's more like 50-50 to be honest. Then we have Iron Thunders, long range artillery. Always use short salvo on these. Relocate after firing, so you'll be fine. The range is huge. You can lace targets with your snipers and STTs. And then we have the for precision bombing. And then we have the M54s, which are cheap but quite decent supply vehicles. In the helicopter tab, we have Comanches. They are excellent at sneaking behind enemy lines and dealing damage to enemy artillery or long-range SAM that can hurt them. And you also have Stingers in case you will meet the enemy choppers that will react against you. This plane is a bitch. I mean, this aircraft, this Comanche, is hard to deal with. It's very stealthy. Don't forget to turn off your weapons when you are trying to sneak around, as firing will increase noise and reveal your position. Then we have Killer Axe. There are many ways how to use them. Most people are using it with Stingers. I decided to use it with Hellfires. DAPS. I think this is an excellent fire super helicopter, but it can be used in different roles. I love the ECM. It makes it very survivable, and it's perfect for hit and run tactics. And a SOAR for transport and supply. Usually you want to load a lot of supplies into your SOAR, bring it closer to the front line, and use these vehicles to deliver those supplies closer to the front line. Then we have F-35s. This is the meta. You are basically using this JDAM to kill enemy heavy and expensive units such as D-14, D-90, D-15 or EMPT. You need to turn off weapons, come close, lace the target, so you have the laser designation, release the harm that would go after enemy SAM. You will drop the bomb and turn around, go down and head back to base. It's quite survivable plane. As soon as you have flares and you haven't really revealed your position early with launching harm, and the enemy doesn't have a fighter in the air, you should go unspotted until you drop the bomb. And you have to fly down. I forgot to mention that. And then when you're dropping the bomb, you're going up. And then we have the Nighthawk with the double JASM. Very good early on when the enemy AA is not properly set up. It has long range, so basically this Nighthawk is safe to use every time. And it's also good to testing the enemy air defense, or if you want to overwhelm them, it's also good to use in that scenario. Then we have Marine plus Air. Marine plus Air has extremely good infantry, both CQC and standoff, and you also have very good tanks, and you still have a decent supply tap and very strong helicopter and air. So Global Hawk, don't expect this to survive, but it has very large optics, but it's not stealthy. Then we have a Force Recon, the standoff version. We have airborne snipers, again suppressed for lasing. And we have the Humvee that has the best optics for ground units in the game. Like many others, it's good to keep an eye on the flank or place enemy positions in case you get into interesting spot behind enemy lines. In infantry, we have the weapon squad. This can fire double javelins. We have assault and small marines. You basically want to combine these two into AAVP. These guys are 8, these guys are 13. Together they are 21. So they fit perfectly into this vehicle. Why only 2 AAVPs? Because you're also using MTVR. It also have it also has 21 seats. So perfect for Marines and assaultman squads. Plus you can also bring some supplies on top of that. Even if you get full squads, you still have place for some supplies. And the same way it works with the Force Recon and Marine Raiders. Force Recon are 6, Marine Raiders are 14, which make it 20. So you can either put these guys into AAVP or MTVR, as both have 21 seats. Stinger team, I think this is one of the best, or not the best manpad in the game. It doesn't have the best range, but it fires double quite good anti-helicopter missiles. They're quite costly for a 4-man squad, but from my own experience, they bring results. Then we have Airborne NGSV. These guys are very good standoff and anti-tank units. I saw a lot of people using them also for a close combat. They're tanky, almost as tanky as the Satniki, so I can understand that. They can either the damage while small or Marine Raider CQC deal the damage on enemy infantry. You can bring them in this vehicle. It has 9 spots, 9 slots exactly how much they need. Then Marine Raider CQC I already explained, use them with Force Recon as a double squad. These guys are excellent at dealing with enemy infantry. You can reverse it around and turn Force Recon into CQC and use Marine Raiders as a standoff. But in Marine plus Air, I think that Marines Raiders are better to use as CQC, while Marines and Assault and Smo are used for more general purpose. You can also decrease these two and invest money elsewhere, like this and this, but that's completely up to you. The funny part about this game is that if you put 2 best players in the world and compare their decks for the same battle group, you will see it's very different, because this game provides many ways how to play it. And then we have Tote B. This is quite effective, but you have used them in the couples because they can fire only one missile at a time, and it can get eaten by APS. So that's why I recommend to double them. But always relocate, because it's only 4-man squad, so we can die easily. Then we have 2 M1A1s with the maximum upgrades, trophies. This is excellent in case you are going into a fight where the other tanks will not survive, but be aware that it will turn into magnet of the enemy airstrikes. Your enemy would want to cluster it to the death, so stay on the move. M1A1HC heavy cavalry. I think this is the most cost-effective tank on the US faction as of now, because for 225 points you have a decent throttle armor, you have 18 HP, you have 2 Brownings, you have quite strong cannon that can deal with anything your enemy throws at you. Maybe not with Armata, but like I said in the past, Armata is not really considered to be cost efficient, so you will not meet it anyway. Then we have M8 Thunderbolts. Please be aware that I'm not using the APS, because the APS make it less armored and with less HP, and I just kept dying too much with 15 HP and this lost armor. So with this one variant it can survive even though you have no APS, but you have 2 smokes, so try to utilize smoke instead of APS. And then we have Tote Bs, good to saturate and deny enemy position with anti-tank missiles. In support tab we have 2 Pack 2s. I think that's quite self-explanatory. Slam Ram, this can't shoot on the move, which is unfortunate, but otherwise I think it's quite decent. 2 Brutus artilleries, one of the best artillery system in the game. For cheap price you get M777 with huge, or not huge, but very good effective range, and all 18 missiles are guided, so don't forget to use your airbow snipers or Humvees to laser targets. When the target is lased, it doesn't matter what damage you do, mostly you will kill targets very easily. MTVR for supplies, but also for your infantry, like I said, small marines or marine raiders and force recon. Low L is very good because it's fast and cheap and has some armor. It can deliver small packages of I call it emergency supplies whenever it's needed. It's just enough to reinforce or refill. Sometimes you might need more. In that case you have to use MTVR, but if you need some smaller amount of supplies closer to the front line and you don't want to risk MTVR, then use this one. And then we have Catfe. This is short range MLRS. I put them 2 into the deck because the one will most likely always die. Your enemy sees it coming and it will always become #1 priority. So either bring 2 or have 1 in reserve, because you will most likely lose one of them. Helicopter tab. We have Guardians with Jagum and Dagger. Super Cobras with 2 Sidewinders each. Very good in the opening. For this price you got excellent anti-helo, but also anti-air helicopter. But don't forget that you have to click on the incoming airplane, because many times they don't shoot by themselves. And the Zuni rockets can provide some fire support, which is might be enough in the opening. Later in the game, not so much. Kiowa Warrior, many people are using it for the Stingers. I use them for Hellfire and Hydra. It's a very cheap fire support or sniping unit. Not going to do much, but I'm currently testing it. Maybe I'll change my mind and switch to the Stinger as well. And Super Stallion for transport and supplies. Air part is extremely strong because both Marine and Air are bringing a lot of activation points, so you have so many options. You can utilize it to use a nuke, but like I said, I don't really enjoy using nukes. I am choosing more conventional approach, but I keep a seat just in case some of my teammates want to use nukes, so I can support at least with that. F-ATC Hornets are excellent, even during the opening but also later in the game. You have long-range missiles, you have AVRAMs, and you have also Steinwinders, so you can deal with any kind of the target. 10% ECM make it quite survivable. Then you have the Strike Eagles. These are perfect when you want to cluster enemy tanks. The one strike usually should be enough. And for this price, you can kill basically any tank, and you can fly low all the way into the target, and when you're turning back, you don't have to fly up. Eagle 2, very good plane used for the JASSMs. I think this is currently the meta. Some people are equipping with 5 JASSMs, so making it much more expensive. I think it's around 620 points. I think 3 JASSMs are just enough. You also have 2 harms, so you have anti-radiation capabilities. You fire missiles and you fly back. Quite self-explanatory. You will probably not lose Eagle 2 to enemy AA or even enemy airplanes, only if you mismanage it. So these beasts usually bring very good results. Alright, that's all regarding Marine and Air. And now let's go to the third best deck, which I think is I don't know if it's the third best. Maybe it's some people tell you it's the best deck, some people tell you that it's not really that good, but I'm currently playing it quite a lot. I enjoy it, so let's take a look on Marine Stryker. So Marine Stryker brings decent infantry, very strong support, while you also are able to still acquire strong air presence. Oh, let's check out what we have. Scout snipers, that's clear. Again, the cheap version for stealth and laser designation. These 2 scouts are brought because of the Marine Stryker. Stryker RV. This Stryker RV is stealthy, has the best optics for ground units, and a javelin. A lot of people are abusing it. It can fire without revealing itself. Unless you have a proper APS units that are also not very expensive, you will struggle against it. But don't forget it's quite expensive and it easily dies to RTN. Even dump HE bombs, so keep that in mind. There are still ways to counter this one, although it can be very annoying. And also people like to use this to sneak behind enemy lines. Then we have a Force Recon CQC version with shotguns and anti-infantry low and Mark 18s. And we have one small shadow drone, good for reconning on your flank or in your base. Infantry tab, again we have Ossalsman Mareeves that are used in AAVP. Marines are taking the damage, while Ossalsman small are dealing the damage with the small rockets. You want to use them together. Alternatively, you can use double small teams in AAVP or single small with the Dragoon trophy. Marine Raiders are also very good candidates to use together with Force Recon, like in the previous deck in AAVPs. This time I'm using the standoff variant. As you remember, in Marine plus Air, I had the NGVS Airborne. Those guys have the most. In this case, I don't have it, so I decided to use Marine Raider Standoff. They are still very good. They can deal with enemy infantry, but not from the close. You need to use Force Recon to deal with enemy infantry from the close. That's why they're accompanying Marine Raiders. Troopers, 9-man squad with 84s and javelins. Combat engineers, one of the best anti-infantry units in the game. Small Ds can also take out some of the lightly armored vehicles. Really, really good and strong units. Then we have Trooper Ace for some manpads and a Cat TOW 2. These guys can surprisingly also hold against infantry because they have some machine guns, but they will immediately be a target of the enemy arty because they are also quite expensive, so be aware of that. And they have only one TOW 2, so your enemy might consume it easily with APS or smoke. So you also want to have some troopers or something else that can work together with this TOW 2 squad. Furthermore, I think it would be good to stop here and explain that we also have the Hemit, which comes with the Stryker. This is extremely valuable because this will not only enable you to bring 3 squads with as deployment or 2 Marine Raiders, but on top of that you have a lot of space for supplies. For 75 points it's bringing quite a lot of value, so I decided to put all 4 of those. And here, as you can see, I don't have many transport options besides AAVP and Dragon Trophy. Also, Dragon Trophy don't have the Javelin because it's not really needed for the purpose of the assault. So that's why we're using Hamid. So a lot of the transport is relied on this vehicle. I like to bring Assaultsman small plus double combat engineer. In the opening it gives you upper hand in infantry combat because in the beginning your opponent is not bringing a lot of tanks, so we can bring something like that. Double combat engineers will deal with infantry. Assaultsman small will deal with enemy vehicles and light tanks. And then when game will go on, you can start bringing Marine Raiders and double force recon, so we will have 3 squads, one with the MOWs and the 2 others with shotguns and LOVs. Or you can also bring double or triple troopers, for example. So this unit looks underrated, but it gives you a shit ton of options how to effectively deploy it. And playing this game effectively is really important, so keep that in mind. And we have tanks. This one is the expensive one with APS and quite strong frontal armor. This one, like I said in the previous battle group, is the most cost-effective US armor. And then we have the infamous Bookers. Just use them as a fire support, don't go too close. If you use them from a bit of afar, they're excellent. They have APS that's protecting them from ATGM. You can, thanks to 50 mil, you can very quickly kill enemy armor. No, not armor, but APCs or missile carriers. You can also suppress enemy infantry quite fast, but not kill very fast. And when you want to kill enemy armor, keep in mind that you have to come from the flank. So then you have to be a little bit risking. Then we have the ATGM trophy. I think the trophy itself is giving it upper hand, so you can eat when one of the missiles is coming at you. And while you're shooting your missile, your enemy might not be able to harm you at all. You also have a smoke. Just beware of some of the Russian missile carriers such as Chrysanthema can fire 2 missiles at the same time, so the APS will not help you in that case. In support we have quite strong presence. We have 1 Pack 2. We have Centurion C-Ram, which is one of the best short, but very, very fragile. A lot of people are using instead the Stryker or Low AD. feel free to replace CRAM in case you are not satisfied with it. Then we have the goated unit. Like Bookers, this is also thing that a lot of players are complaining about. Why? Because it has excellent range, very good dispersion clusters, and it reloads quite quickly. Use them in the couples, fire the medium long range salvo, which will be 6 missiles because you're using them in couples, and then you relocate and fire another medium salvo, and then you reload. You can outrange everything. You can kill most of the targets. You cannot kill infantry, but for infantry you have something else. You have the Catfay. Excellent unit. I highly recommend to have both because you will most likely lose the first one. It's a magnet for the enemy airstrikes or artillery as soon as your enemy is spotting it. Low amp for the smoke. Smoke is really underappreciated in the game. I think it's very useful when you are taking position, and when you smoke correctly, you are basically denying enemy fire support. Emit, I already explained this, and low L. Like in the previous battle group, you're using it for supplying small supply depots for the front line that you're not too afraid to lose. And it's much less expensive than Emit, so you don't have to be afraid to come up close in case you need to reload some of your frontline units. Helicopter tab is quite small. You have a Viper, extremely good to use with the sidearm. This is anti-radiation. Basically, it can kill a Shorat that doesn't have a high rate of fire and has turned on the radar. He might be trying to snipe you, but you'll be like, oh, good, thank you. Here you are, catch this, and you might kill it. And then you have the Hydra for fire support and Hellfire for killing enemy tanks. Super Cobra, like in the previous battle group, excellent for opening. Sidewinders can kill both helis and planes, but you have only 2 for both. Therefore, I highly recommend to bring both Super Cobras at the same time. And the Zuni rockets. Super Stallion for supply drop into your backline. Don't go too far because enemy sees you coming. So use the low L then to disperse all the supplies that you dropped. And then you have Venom. Venom is excellent in the beginning. I usually don't use it afterwards. You can put almost any squad inside. Hydra is very good at killing the enemy vanguard that's coming in the opening. And in the air, you have the Hornets. Like I said, this can deal with any plane or any helicopter, pretty much any target. I'm using the cheap version where you don't have many missiles, but you have still 2 long range, 2 AMRAAM, 2 Sidewinders for helicopters. So I think for the price it's excellent. 10% ECM is not the best, but not terrible either. Then you have a CJ, very good seat. I don't think there's much more that I need to talk about. And you have Viper with double JSOS. So be aware that those JSOS will not kill target that is a heavy tank. I think it will neither kill the BMPTs, but it will kill anything that's lighter or anything that's damaged. And also Bookers in case you're playing a mirror match. Okay, that's it. Those were my currently most liked and used US battle groups. I hope you liked it. In case it gave you any value, please like and subscribe, and talk to you later. Bye bye.